Hi, I'm Felipa, and this is day 52 of reading this big Bible. So today I'm still on Judges chapter 13, and it talks about how Israel was conquered by the Philistines or the Philistines. And so once again, we're just seeing that pattern of Israel transgressing against the Lord, and then the Lord essentially letting things play out and other nations overcome them and take charge of them. And so we start here with a family of the Danites, the name of a man, Manoah, and his wife was barren, and there was an angel that appeared, and it said that she shall conceive and bear a son, and that no razor shall come to his head, for the child shall be a Nazarite unto God from the womb, and he shall deliver Israel out of the hand of the Philistines. And so the angel basically tells them, he tells the woman, don't drink wine or any strong drink, don't eat any unclean thing, and you will have this child. And essentially that is what happens. She has this son. His name is Samson, or he is named Samson, and he desires a wife of the Philistines, and his mom and dad kind of don't get it because he's supposed to deliver Israel out of the hands of the Philistines, but there is this greater plan that's taking place that they don't know, that is in the spirit of the Lord. And so we continue on to Samson serving as a judge, and essentially he ends up having this Philistine wife. He's upset because the spirit of the Lord comes down and went down to Ashkelon, and he slew 30 men and he took their spoils. Essentially what ended up happening is he gave a riddle to these Philistines during their marriage feast back here, and he said, what's pretty much like as strong can be and as sweet can be. And he says, if you figure out the riddle, I will give you garment, and if I win the riddle, I'll win your garment. And these Philistines are upset, and they're like, are you serious? Like, if we can't figure this riddle out, like, are you trying to rob us blind of everything that we have? And his wife ends up begging him to give her the answer, which he ends up doing. And she tells her people, the Philistines, the name of the riddle, or the answer to the riddle. And so Samson is very pissed off. He goes down to Ashkelon. He slews these 30 men. He kills them, and he takes their spoil and gave change of garments onto them, which kind of wrapped up the riddle. So essentially, they were supposed to give him his garments if they won. He was supposed to give them his garments if they won, but they essentially cheated because his wife ended up giving them the answer. And so he comes back to get his wife, and her dad says, like, no, you can't have her. He gets pissed, does this thing where he catches 300 foxes, puts firebrands between their tails, sends them out into the corn, and essentially like burns down everything. He's like really angry. The Philistines go up and try to like get him, and he takes a donkey's jawbone and like kills them all. And then we move on to basically this pattern of like people trying to catch Samson and kill him, but he's very strong. He ends up falling in love with a woman named Delilah, and the lords of the Philistines come to her and they entice her and say, like, tell us where he gets his strength, how is he able to kill everybody. And he tells her these like 3 fake ways, like tying him up with like with a new rope, and then he breaks out of it, and she's like, why are you making fun of me? And then finally he says to her, I was born Nazarite unto God, and my head's never been shaved. So if a razor comes upon my head, then I will lose my strength and I'll be like any other man. So she gets him to fall asleep. She gets all these Philistine men to come down. His head is shaved. They capture him and they take his eyes out and they imprison him. And so then his final act, where he kills many of the Philistines, they bring him out for sport into this the house of the Philistines, and they put him in between these 2 pillars. And he actually ends up, because while he was in prison, his hair grew back, so he's actually back to being strong. He puts both one hand each on 2 of the pillars of the house, of the Philippines or Philistines, and he ends up pushing it aside, and he ends up basically breaking all the walls and crushing all of them. And there's a picture right here of that happening. Yeah, so he ends up killing a bunch of the Philistines. And then it just says in this last verse, it says, Then his brethren and all the house took of his father came down and took him and brought him up and buried him between Zorah and Eshtaol in the burying place of Manoah his father. And he judged Israel 20 years. So still that pattern of, judges taking care of Israel and leading the people of Israel back to back to the Lord. And then, of course, Israel failing to follow those commandments and falling in the trap and being mistreated and enslaved by other nations. So that is it for day 52. And I will be back tomorrow for day 53.